You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, runners in southeast Kansas came together to show support for those who work in foster care.
Also, Bourbon County swears in a new county commissioner.
And we've got ourselves a few clouds out there today. It's still going to be hot, breezy, muggy, all of those things. A look at your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Samantha Walker.
I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Monday, June the 23rd. And of course, summer kicked off on Friday, and there's been no doubt that we are in summertime here in the 4 states, so definitely a bit toasty. A little toasty through the weekend, but that didn't stop some folks coming out to support a good cause there.
No, not at all. They're enjoying this nice warm weather and lack of rain. So Fostering Connection hosted a 5K run and walk in Pittsburgh on Saturday.
KOAM's Mitch Adams was there, and he shows us how the run aims to benefit those who are working in foster care.
The community supports local nonprofit Fostering Connections by participating in a new event. The organization hosts their first 5K run and walk, taking place in Guerrilla Village at Pittsburgh State.
Well, one of our leadership team members, a couple of our leadership team members just suggested that we do this last year, and thankfully we kind of stayed on the idea and thought this would be a fun event for kids to get involved, and not just adults, but something that we could do for kids. And bring your kids, bring your dog, bring your stroller, and it's been a fun event to plan.
Fostering Connections has been active since 2018, providing support for local foster children and their families.
And we just realized through doing it ourselves there was such a gap in a lot of services that agencies either didn't have the financial capacity or the time to figure out, and so we were able to step in and provide a lot of those initiatives. And today we have about 15 different initiatives that serve foster and adopted families or kids in care.
Around 50 racers came out to either run or walk the 5K. Nicholson says that the goal is to expand their support even further.
And I feel like they're our core group of really supporters who've been with us for a long time, and we just hope it grows every year. We want to be able to increase awareness of what we do in the community, what we're doing in southeast Kansas. We're expanding north, we're expanding south this year, and so we just want to be able to further our impact this year in 2025.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
According to Fostering Connections, the number of miles to run was to symbolize how many homes a foster child can go through before finding a permanent placement.
Of course, foster parents play a very pivotal role in taking care of some of these kids before they do find that permanent placement. So the more folks who can help out, certainly the better. It was hot through the weekend. It's going to be hot again today. It's going to be hot tomorrow. I mean, it's summertime. It's going to be hot for a while. And we do have some storm chances, but not until tomorrow. Today, though, just sunny, hot, muggy, breezy. Let's start with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. Really, that kind of just sums up the entire forecast. And they pay me to tell you a little bit more than that. And I know you at home, you want to hear a bit more than that. But again, really today, that really does sum up, though, the forecast is just hot, muggy, breezy, clouds. That's it. But I'll tell you a little bit more in detail, like how hot is it going to get? What's our heat index look like? That's what we do. Modoc Camera 20th and Rangeline looks good. Also, we do this. A reminder, Lynn, Bates County, heat advisories, once again, these will run through 7 this evening. So up here, heat index values could reach 105. Heat index values elsewhere could still approach 100 degrees today. There's those wind arrows racing as we're going to have gusty south winds yet again and just a few clouds here and there. We're otherwise dry today, but we do start to see some pop-up storm chances over the next few days. City at 77 in Joplin right now, as well as Pittsburgh, well on our way to a toasty day. We're going already mid-upper 70s out there. Monette looks to be the cool spot at 74 degrees. Not like it's super cool, but hey, it's better than being close to 80. Low 80s by 9, upper 80s by noon. Highs today 90 or into the low 90s. Few clouds, south winds gusting to 30. All right, thunderstorm chances. Might get 1 or 2 tonight, which we'll talk about. We've got our pop-up storm chances. We'll go over that, plus the summer heat here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. The body of a 12-year-old Erie, Kansas boy has been recovered on Sunday from the Neosho River. Around 12:38 yesterday, the Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks notified Neosho County Sheriff Greg Taylor of a possible sighting of a child's body in the Neosho River at the KGE Dam located a couple of miles south of Highway 400 in Lebec County. First responders were able to recover the body successfully. The body has since been turned over to the Neosho County coroner. Sheriff Taylor said in a social media post, quote, "This has been a very hard week for everyone involved. I want to express gratitude to every first responder in our community who contributed to our recovery efforts." A memorial fund has been set up at the Commercial Bank of Erie for the two boys. You can donate at any of their locations in Parsons, Oswego, Chanute, Independence, Coffeyville, or Erie. A new Bourbon County Commissioner has been sworn in. Sam Tran was recognized Sunday afternoon as he takes on the Commissioner position 1. Mr. Tran immigrated from Vietnam with his parents when he was 8 in 1975 and grew up in a small town in Iowa. He then served in the military before settling in Bourbon County.
Having been deployed around the world, you come back and you appreciate what you have here back in the States. And I'm grateful for what I have, what I've been able to accomplish in my lifetime in America. I mean, as I've told my friends, we came here with 3 suitcases and 3 people and $50. That's what we started our life here in America with.
The ceremony was held at the Main Street Citizens Bank gazebo in Fort Scott. To be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. No war on Iran protests popping up all across the nation yesterday. The coordinated demonstrations took place from California to New York as protesters are urging the U.S. to stop its involvement in Israel's war with Iran. Fox News correspondent Lucas Tomlinson has more from Washington.
Demonstrators across major U.S. cities are protesting against what they say is the start of an American war against Iran on Sunday.
This is not a war that's in the benefit of everyday working class Americans. We have nothing to gain from this war.
The protest ignited after American B-2 stealth bombers flew from the U.S. into Iran, striking 3 of the country's nuclear facilities. And while some Americans approve of President Trump's surprise attack,
it should have been done years ago. It's saving America, it's saving Israel, it's saving all Western civilization.
Critics argue it's a violation of international law.
Donald Trump's attack on Iran is unnecessary. It was unprovoked. It is illegal.
That's right.
And it is extremely dangerous.
In Boston, anti-war protesters voiced strong opposition against the U.S.-Israeli alliance. At Sunday's rally in New York, demonstrators warned of dangerous consequences, with some holding signs reading, "Trump is a war criminal."
We've opened a can of worms that we're not going to be able to close.
And back here in the nation's capital, dozens marched and chanted in front of the White House, yelling out the word shame to express their opposition for last night's attack. Iran has vowed to respond to the American attacks at a time and place of its choosing. In Washington, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Lori Horton shows Elise how to make her creamy banana cheesecake dessert. But first, here's a live look from Apple Park in Dunaweg, Missouri.
Well, Lori has been showing us her recipe for a no-bake banana cheesecake, perfect for summertime. Now we've made the filling. What's left?
Now we're just going to start to layer all of these flavors together. And as I said, we started with a cream cheese base. So it does kind of give you those cheesecake vibes, but it's really just more of a really soft, summery, fluffy banana no-bake pudding. So easy. What I've got here in this bowl, and again, my finest Tupperware for you guys, is just a whole box of crushed vanilla wafers. Yeah. So crunch them down nice and fine. You're going to put about half of that in your pan. Make a little more noise here in our aluminum pan. But this is good, again, for those summer parties. You can take it, something like this, not worry about getting your good pans back. So this
Super
is also
easy.
about right for a nice 9x13 glass pan.
Okay.
Okay. We're just going to put a nice layer in there. This isn't going to create a real solid crust, so we don't need to bake that. We don't need to add anything else to it. And then we're going to add about half of our cheesecake mixture. And depending on how precise you are with that, I try. Some days I succeed, some days I don't. So we're just going to kind of layer that on there in pieces. We're going to come back with that spatula and kind of spread it out a little bit, because to that we're going to add some fresh banana. So if you'll take this out to the edge of your pan to sort of give you something to stick to, it's okay if this starts to mix together, because again, we're not really making a crust. We don't need to think about this as the layered part of it. It's just those bananas and whipped cream that's all going to come together in the end.
Looks great.
I'm going to make a little bit of a mess to start, but once you get it hooked up, spread that to the edge. There we go. You start to get a little bit of a base that it can hold itself. Then you're in good shape. We'll add a little bit more. And you could do this in a bigger pan and just do a single layer of each one, or you could even do it in individual cups and kind of come along there with your just banana pieces as you go. It's really up to you. It'd be kind of fun for an outdoor party to do those single cups so that you didn't have quite the mess of all the dishes
and a single serving,
easy.
Yeah.
So we just want to get that pretty well across our pan. Doesn't really matter if it's in every little corner, because it's going to kind of smooth and incorporate as we go.
Wonderful.
Now we're going to take some slices of fresh banana. And my OCD will not allow me to just dump these on there. I'm sorry, we have to make them look good. You're going to take 2 to 3 bananas, depending on the size of them, and we're going to layer those on there. Next, we're going to come back, we're going to put the rest of our cheesecake mixture on there, and then we're going to put some topping. We just want whipped cream on top with some yummy extra flavors that'll tie all of that banana yumminess together, and we'll come back and do that at the end.
Wonderful, sounds delicious. All right, stick around, you don't want to miss it. Well, welcome back. This morning we're with Lori Horton in the studio, and she is finishing up this no-bake banana cheesecake. It already looks and smells so wonderful. We've been doing a lot of work. What's left?
All that's left is just the topping, and this is really as much or as little as you want to do.
Okay.
We added that entire mixture of our banana pudding cheesecake mixture there, and so now I'm just going to add in some Cool Whip, because of course everything is better with a little bit of Cool Whip on it, right? You can even do a couple of tubs of this, use the extra creamy if you want, whatever you like. It's really completely up to your preference. And we're just gonna let that sort of mix together a little bit with the last of our layer of that banana cheesecake mixture. We use 3 whole bananas to slice up in there. I didn't have exceptionally large bananas today, so you may not need 3. You may need 4. It depends on the day and your store, right? So we're just going to make sure that we kind of get all of this incorporated out to the edges. And then what goes better with banana than a little bit of caramel?
Ooh,
right?
Sounds delicious.
So I have to save that Tupperware for the next time I come in and see you guys. We're going to add a little bit of caramel topping. Little bit, a lot, quite a bit, go crazy.
Yes, maybe the whole bottle.
You may need the whole bottle. You could even add at the last minute some more fresh banana slices on the top.
Oh, delicious, yeah.
But you've got a pretty good layer of that in there, and then with that banana pudding in our cheesecake mixture, that's plenty, generally speaking. But if you're really a banana lover, go for it. And then, of course, with bananas, we love to have walnuts. Use your favorite. I'm really more of a pecan person, but with banana, it seems like walnut really is the flavor that we like. So chop them up, make small pieces. This is going to be the type of dessert that you really just scoop into a bowl. So as we said, single serving layers of it would be really good in little cutesy cups, especially for the kids, because this gets to make it a whole lot easier for them to manage. But we can do that either way, and just, you know, do something small with a couple banana slices in there and one layer of each, because that's going to be a little bit awkward to kind of section. You can even put your banana pudding mixture into a Ziploc bag or a piping bag if you have one. to kind of make that look a
Yeah,
little
absolutely.
cleaner and nicer. So you can put your layer of those crushed vanilla wafers, pipe a little bit of the cheesecake in there, some bananas, layer, repeat, rinse, the whole 9 yards, and make it look a little bit cleaner and fancier in those cups. But this will want to set in the fridge for a few hours before you serve it. As I said, you really want those flavors to meld together. Let that pudding soak into the cream cheese. Let all of that Cool Whip flavors really incorporate, and it's just going to be that much better overnight.
So delicious. Very pretty too.
So it is a good one. It'll be a standout for your next barbecue or outdoor cookout. You can even mix it with strawberry instead, use a vanilla pudding. Get crazy with it. Kind of incorporate your favorites.
Oh, how fun.
It's flexible.
Wonderful. Well, Lori, as always, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Get this problem solved. There we go. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:23 now on this Monday morning. I keep forgetting future temperatures are starting tomorrow. But by today, still upper 80s by noon. We'll be upper 80s again tomorrow by noon. And by the afternoon, our highs cruising into the low 90s. As we head into the evening hours, it'll be another mild one Tuesday night into Wednesday. And then we'll see those temperatures soar again. Low to mid 80s by Wednesday. So like 3 or 4 degrees cooler by noon on Wednesday than where we'll be today or tomorrow. But it still doesn't stop us from heating up back in the low 90s for just about all of us. In fact, low 90s are really going to be the temperatures for 95% of us over the next several days. The only thing that's going to help is we're going to get a little more cloud cover as we start seeing those pop-up storm chances. That'll help reduce our heat risk just a smidge as we head from Wednesday into Thursday. Another mild night, of course, going from Wednesday into Thursday. And again, I mentioned earlier, I noticed this last week. I thought it would fix itself. It is not, but this is not accurate. We're not going to be in the low to mid 70s by noon Thursday. I wish we would. That would certainly be pleasant, but we won't. We'll be back in the low to mid 80s out there. If you watch it closely, you'll see that these temperatures on the map itself freeze at like 5 a.m. and then they don't start back up again until about 3. So that's why there's this sudden spike going into the afternoon and evening hours on our Thursday, back into the upper 80s and low 90s. On the future track today, not much expected. Gusty south winds, a few clouds here and there. We had talked about the possibility of pop-up storms today. That's a little less likely. What we could see, though, there's a severe threat to our west. In fact, real quick, we have no severe areas highlighted for us, at least not in the next few days. But we could get overnight an isolated shower storm that'll try to clip our far northwestern edges of our area. Most of us dry, and that may not even make it that far into our area. But as we go into Tuesday afternoon, that's when we start to see the pop-up storms. Now, one thing I want to emphasize on the pop-up storms, this is a great example here. 5 o'clock tomorrow shows a storm over Mount Vernon. Is that exactly what's going to happen? Not necessarily. And the reason is when we get thunderstorms, there's usually a cold front, a wave, some kind of boundary, something triggering the storms that future track looks for and says, okay, thunderstorms along this boundary. That makes sense. Pop-up storms feed off the heating of the day, the instability of the day, and that's why they're pop-up. They're random. So that may not necessarily be a storm at 5 o'clock tomorrow over Mount Vernon, but the future track's showing us that pop-up storms will be a possibility starting tomorrow, and then they will return as we roll into Wednesday afternoon as well. Again, maybe not right where you're seeing them, but we'll see some pop-up storm chances. And again, they're small, they're isolated, they don't move much, and occasionally they can reach low-grade severe status, but not an expectation, just a possibility, so something we want to keep an eye on. Reminder, we do have heat advisories Lynn and Bates County in Missouri until 7 o'clock this evening. Lynn County in Kansas. And we've got the moderate to major heat risk today, slight improvement for our Tuesday, and again, a slighter improvement for our Wednesday out there. Starting the day, few clouds like what we're seeing now, near 80 by 8, mid 80s by 11 a.m. South winds today, gusting upwards of 30. They'll gust up to 20 overnight, ease up tomorrow, back in the low to mid 70s. Low 90s, pop-up storm chances through Thursday, hot through the weekend again with more pop-up storms possible next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Samantha Walker. The Joplin Parks and Recreation Department, in partnership with other organizations, held a Show Me Water safety event at Wildcat Glades on Saturday. The event is meant to help with the lowering of injury and fatality rates in local waterways. Those who attended were able to learn practical skills and gain the knowledge needed to stay safe around streams and lakes.
How parents and kids can learn different things about water safety that maybe they didn't know, or improve on skills that they had, and just show different ways that they can be safe in and around the water. It's really great to see people be interested in things like that.
Under Missouri law, children under 7 years old must have a life jacket when they're on a boat of any kind. St. Peter the Apostle Church in Joplin, Missouri held a special Corpus Christi celebration this weekend. The Catholic Holy Day honors the Eucharist, the belief that the bread and wine become the body and blood of Jesus Christ. Parishioners took place in a procession around the block, singing hymns as a sign of their faith. The celebration ended with divine praises, bringing the community together in worship and reflection. The Joplin Juneteenth celebrations wrapped up over the weekend. Saturday was the last day of the 3-day event, also known as the Freedom Celebration. The day kicked off with a 5K run and a variety of activities that could be attended throughout the day. The event ended with the announcement of Mr. and Mrs. Juneteenth.
It is okay to celebrate all of our differences, celebrate all of our cultures, and come together and just be people together.
Funds raised from Saturday's event will go to the establishment of Hope Park at the location the celebration took place. Schools here in Joplin are getting a little bit of a facelift with help from James River Church. Volunteers spent the day on Saturday painting over 85,000 square feet and doing yard work at schools in Springfield and Joplin. The service project is used as a way to help with projects that may not be included in regular maintenance or annual budgets.
Watching the campus transform, I mean, literally all the landscaping just is totally redone in the matter of a few hours. It beautifies the campus, fresh paint on the walls. I mean, the rooms look complete.
Around 100 volunteers helped at Joplin High School. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Another hot day in store for us today across the area. Quick look outside downtown Pittsburgh. A couple of clouds here and there. That'll be the trend for most of today as well. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline. Looking good. Folks getting their day. Wow. Okay. Getting their day underway there. We do have heat advisories. Linn County, Kansas, Bates County, Missouri until 7 o'clock this evening. Up here, heat index values could approach 105. For the rest of us, though, heat index values still approaching 100 degrees today. Gusty winds will continue. They kicked off with the first day of summer, and they will continue as we head through today and into tonight, and they were breezy all weekend. Just a few clouds, though, for us today. Otherwise, we're expecting to remain dry. Our pop-up storm chances today not looking very likely, but we do start to see them starting tomorrow afternoon. And our temperatures now already heating up, 77 already in both Joplin and Pittsburgh, and across the area. Oh boy, look at all that orange on this map this early in the morning. We've got mid-upper 70s, 78, Fort Scott, Nevada, Chetopa, Miami, so toasty already, and it's going to get hotter. Low 80s by 9, upper 80s by noon, 90. About average for our high. Otherwise, some of us even in the low 90s. Few passing clouds and those south winds gusting to 30. It's breezy tonight. Most of us dry tonight. Pop-up storm chances build in tomorrow. We'll look at all that in the full forecast here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. The Fair Acres Family YMCA in Carthage hosted a class on water safety for local second graders. KOAM's Mitch Adams brings us a deeper dive on this story.
Friday marked the beginning of summer, which means more children will jump in the water to cool off. Fair Acres Family YMCA in Carthage teaches second graders on how to be safe while swimming.
We want them to be comfortable in the water. We want to help get them over any kind of excessive fear of the water. There's a healthy fear of the water, and then there's an excessive fear. So we call that water acclimation. And then our second goal is obviously to develop water skills.
The CDC says that drowning is the second leading cause of death for children aged 5 through 14. The YMCA wants to make sure kids have these skills to prevent accidents.
I feel like when we make it fun, then a lot of those fears that maybe would have initially happened, they're just not even a possibility. Because the kids are so focused on the fun that they forget that, oh, something bad could happen. And then in the process, they're relaxed, and then our teaching becomes effective because their bodies are relaxed and they're excited and they're ready to work.
Being able to combine fun with swimming skills makes for an entertaining way to keep on treading. In Carthage, Missouri, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
The Carthage YMCA will continue to offer swimming lessons throughout the summer. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A growing trend in dairy farms allows you to lose some stress with cows. Before we head to break, here's a live look from Apple Park in Dunaweg, Missouri. In Consumer Watch, the big beautiful bill measure the Trump administration wants is going on a diet thanks to the Senate parliamentarian. The proposed tax and spending policy bill passed by the House and worked on by the Senate now may be much smaller. The Senate parliamentarian issued guidance on some parts of the bill that don't meet the so-called reconciliation process. Some of the measures that don't qualify include forcing states to pay portions of food benefits, barring illegal migrants from getting food assistance, and cutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau budget to zero. But withholding broadband funds to states regulating artificial intelligence technology can stay. It's hoped the bill can be passed by July 4th in time for President Trump to sign. Early oil prices on the future markets show bad news for prices following U.S. weekend attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. Oil prices leaped yesterday ahead of the opening of trading this morning on Wall Street. U.S. oil futures spiked 2.7%, hitting about $75.80 a barrel. Concerns about oil are over whether or not a possible escalated conflict between the U.S. and Iran and Israel trading attacks, disrupting oil flow and availability globally and domestically. Artificial intelligence may make your life easier, but is it harming your health? New research from MIT says the use of ChatGPT may lead to cognitive decline. The study claims it can harm your critical thinking over time. The study asked 3 groups to write several SAT essays, one group using OpenAI, the second using a Google search engine, and the last group was the brain-only group. Researchers say those who used ChatGPT over a few months had the lowest brain engagement and, quote, consistently underperformed at neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels. Sky-high temperatures aren't the only thing millions of people have to be concerned about this summer. With ultraviolet sun rays and potentially disease-spreading mosquitoes increasing health and safety risks this season. But while sunscreens and bug repellents can help, some toxicology experts are sharing more about how families with young kids can use these products more effectively. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a closer look.
With the sunshine calling more folks outside to beaches, campgrounds, and beyond for some summer fun, health experts say it's important to protect your skin from harmful ultraviolet rays and insect bites. But according to Dr. Natalie Johnson, environmental toxicologist at Texas A&M University,
you want to do it in a way that's also, protecting you from harmful chemicals as well.
For starters, UV protective clothing and hats can be worn to cover a bulk of the body while outside. But for any exposed skin, Dr. Johnson says mineral sunscreens offer some perks.
Those typically tend to be made of a zinc oxide or a titanium dioxide. They are typically safe for the marine environment and really don't cause a lot of skin reactions.
If you opt for an aerosol sunscreen, Dr. Johnson recommends using caution,
because that could cause a potential risk for inhalation, which could cause respiratory irritation. As a mom, I prefer to use either a cream or lotion-based sunscreen.
As for chemical bug repellents, Dr. Johnson says they're a no-go for kids under 6 months, and instead, parents should use nets over strollers. For kids under the age of 3, repellents should contain less than 10% of the chemical DEET. Meanwhile, even bug sprays containing natural oils like eucalyptus may still irritate the skin, especially on young kids.
It's generally recommended not to use those on kids that are under 3 years of age. So check out the labels.
Ted Lindner, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:44 now on this Monday. Start that over. It's 7:44 on this Monday morning in the 4 states. It's been a long weekend. It was hot this weekend. Hopefully you get some time, get out to the pool, take some precautions, of course, while you're doing all that, and just enjoy an opportunity to cool off here and there because it's going to be hot again today. It's going to be hot again tomorrow as we go back into the low 90s. That, of course, means our overnight lows are going to be pretty mild the next several nights, and we won't be hitting them until early in the next morning. So that's why, again, this morning when I woke up, went out the door, it was still about 80 degrees at 3 a.m. Be another hot one again tomorrow, low mid-80s by noon, but still cruising back up into the low 90s by the afternoon hours. And as we head into Thursday, it's going to be a very similar situation as temperatures will cruise once again into the upper 80s and low 90s. Now, we also have pop-up storm chances, not necessarily today. I know we were kind of looking forward to at least maybe a rain shower or two here or there. Not going to be the case. We'll have just a few clouds out there. We're going to be breezy. We're going to be dry. Now, late tonight, as you see on Future Track, stray shower storm might try and clip our northwestern counties. There's a severe risk out to our west. Does not include us at this time. In fact, we do not have any severe areas highlighted over the next few days for our region, but a couple of those storms might try and make it into our northwestern counties late tonight. Otherwise, tomorrow it'll be mostly clear to partly cloudy again, and then as we roll into the afternoon and evening, we get the heating of the day. We get these pop-up storms. And as we discussed earlier, like this one, for example, right over Mount Vernon tomorrow at 5. Not necessarily going to be right there at that time. With pop-up storms, there's not a specific trigger, like a cold front or some kind of boundary or pressure. It's just random storms feeding off the heating of the day and some instability into the atmosphere. So they could be anywhere. They're usually short-lived. Again, they can dump quite a bit of rain in a short time and occasionally can reach low-grade severe status. So we'll want to keep an eye on them just, to be sure. Otherwise, they'll die out once we lose the heating of the day. We go into Wednesday afternoon, and once again, we start to see opportunities for those random pop-up storms out there. So not everybody will see rain, but we could see a couple of showers out there. Of course, if you're outdoors or anything, just remember, when thunder roars, head indoors. These things are usually very brief in nature, so you can probably quickly move inside, wait it out, and then head back out. A reminder, Lynn, Bates County, heat advisories through 7 o'clock this evening. Heat index values up here up to 105. As for the rest of us, still reaching about 100. That's why we still have that moderate to major heat risk. Now, between clouds, pop-up storm chances, the heat risk begins to drop in some locations at least, but we still have moderate over a good portion of the area all the way into our Thursday as well. So we still want to make sure you're taking precautions and just pay attention to the temperatures and how your body's reacting. We're looking clear now from 7th and Rangeline, but we've had a few clouds here and there. Near 80 by 8 o'clock this morning, mid-80s by 11. South winds today gusting upwards of 30. They'll gust up to 20 tonight and ease up finally by tomorrow, but the temperatures again not easing up. Low 90s, some upper 80s for our highs for the foreseeable future. Pop-up storms through Thursday and then again toward the beginning of next week. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Floods and food prices have pushed a dairy farm down an unusual path to turn a profit.
One that has cows doing more mingling than milking. Tina Kraus has the story from London.
Fiona Wilson loves feeding her cows on a farm in England that has been in her family for generations.
We started off as a dairy farm basically from the early 1970s when my dad bought this farm. So basically all my life I milked cows.
But with the economy squeezing profits, Fiona's farm is trading cream for cuddles.
You can just kind of sink in.
Inviting visitors to snuggle up with cows that are now more pampered than productive.
They are so gentle, just like big dogs. It's really special.
For $125, guests get up to 4 hours of bonding time, an experience they say is quite moving.
Really warm, really supportive. She just loves the cuddle and Peter's towel, as it's stroking her.
Farmers say it took about 6 months to teach cows how to lay down and enjoy the love.
When they come in here, they know what's going to happen.
As you can see, it's like being pampered.
It's like really connecting.
What began as a creative pivot to survive has grown into something bigger. Visitors enjoy a post-cuddle safari, a journey that helps fund a conservation project protecting local wildlife. A family farm proving that resourcefulness and a lot of heart can lead to big returns for everyone.
Cow cuddling has been gaining in popularity since the COVID pandemic, with some farms here in the U.S. now offering the special form of therapy.
Certainly, and interesting to say the least. $125 though to go hug a cow.
You know, luckily in the 4 states, we could just like hop a fence.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to, trespass necessarily,
No,
but
you could.
Sometimes the cows around here will hop the fence and visit us. So, there's that.
Ask your neighbors nicely.
Exactly. Quick reminder of our thunderstorm chances. I want to show you tonight real quick on the future track where, again, our far northwestern edges could get an isolated storm from some severe weather expected to our west. No severe weather expected in our area. However, as we roll into tomorrow afternoon, we start to see opportunities for pop-up storm chances, and they'll die out once we lose the heating of the day, and they return Wednesday afternoon, and they'll return Thursday afternoon as well, as you can see, with at least a few isolated pockets of rain. Got another check of your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The body of a 12-year-old Erie, Kansas boy has been recovered from the Neosho River. At approximately 12:38 Sunday, KDWP notified Sheriff Taylor of a possible sighting of the child's body in the Neosho River at the KGE Dam located a couple miles south of US 400 Highway in Labette County. First responders were able to recover the body successfully. The body has since been turned over to Neosho County Coroner. A new Bourbon County Commissioner has been sworn in. Sam Tran was recognized Sunday afternoon as he takes on the Commissioner 1 position. Mr. Tran immigrated from Vietnam with his parents when he was 8 in 1975 and grew up in a small town in Iowa. The ceremony was held at the Main Street Citizens Bank Gazebo in Fort Scott. The Joplin Parks and Recreation Department, in partnership with other organizations, held a Show Me Water safety event at Wildcat Glades on Sunday. Those who attended were able to learn practical skills and gain the knowledge needed to stay safe around streams and lakes. Under Missouri law, children under 7 years old must have a life jacket when they're on a boat of any kind. That's a check of today's top headlines, news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, going to be a hot one. Going into the low 90s today, still breezy. South winds gusting to 30 and a few clouds here and there. Same overnight, a few clouds here and there. Down to 80 by 10, low to mid 70s tonight. South winds still gusting to 20. South winds ease up a bit tomorrow, about 5 to 10. Low 90s really going to be the trend for the next several days. And we have our pop-up storm chances starting tomorrow afternoon through Thursday. These will be late afternoon, early evening storms. So again, nothing too crazy. Occasionally they can become low-grade severe, so just keep an eye to the sky. Otherwise, just staying hot and muggy for the next while.
So I'll plan on staying inside for the next while.
That's a good idea. I think so.
Well, 4 staters had an opportunity to hug a herp on Saturday. The event took place Saturday at Prairie State Park in Mendamines, Missouri. People of all ages gathered to get a chance to be up close and personal with different types of reptiles.
Now, snakes and lizards were just a few of the different species that were being shown. Kids had an opportunity to hold these animals and hopefully be more open-minded to the idea of reptiles. Of course, on occasion, they can be a bit scary looking. I found a snapping turtle by accident in my front yard when I was a kid. And I didn't know what a snapping turtle was, and it bit me. I didn't like him after that. I didn't like turtles there for a bit either, you know?
I appreciate, these snakes and reptiles. I'll just appreciate them from afar.
Right. You want to appreciate them as they do their thing outside and not inside and, not around where you are. They'll take care of their stuff. We'll take care of our stuff. Right?
That distance.
Exactly. Well, thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Hopefully you had a great time. We will be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.